Hi all. So, so as part of this session, we are going to learn so how we can run Google Cloud Dataflow Batch processing pipeline. So as part of this session, I would like to concentrate much on the demo part of it. So the theoretical aspects, right? So you can learn from the official documentation uh, from the Google Cloud platform, right? Let's move on. So as part of this demo, so there are some prerequisites and assumptions made. So whoever is interested to learn, right? So what is the assumption is like? So the user already has the basic understanding of the below GCP services and also the basic understanding of the Python program, right? We will also see each and every GCP services which are being used as part of this demo on high level, right? The first service is Dataflow. So Dataflow belongs to the GCP big data processing stack. So so it is mainly used for processing bulk volume of data or huge data. So it's used for unified batch and streaming data processing, right? And also Apache Beam SDK. This is a programming model used to create pipeline which can be run on the Dataflow. So it's backed by and supported by different programming languages: Java, Python, and Go. So by the way, this is not a GCP service, so it's an open source framework available, right? So the next service is Bigquery, right? Bigquery is an enterprise data warehouse GCP platform. Uh, you can interact with the Bigquery using standard SQL. You can query uh, petabyte scale data using Bigquery, right? It's a data warehouse, so you can build any kind of data warehouse in Bigquery, right? GCS, Google Cloud Storage, so you can store any type of data like uh, structured and unstructured data uh, in Google Cloud Storage. So it comes under storage service. So then we are going to use Cloud Shell. So Cloud Shell is an interactive shell available in the Google Cloud platform. So you can interact with any other Google Cloud service using this Cloud Shell uh, using CLI commands, right? It also comes with some pre-built or pre-installed softwares. You can you can run your codes and you can basically build your code either in Python or Java, right? The next service is PubSub. PubSub is a global messaging service. Um, so it basically works on publisher and subscriber model and also allows services to communicate asynchronously, right? So then we are going to use Cloud Scheduler. It's a fully managed cron tap service, so you can schedule any job using our standard cron top, right? So these are the different services I'm going to use as part of this demo. So we will see uh, batch processing using Dataflow, right? So yeah, this is a use case. So right, what we are trying to do as part of this demo, first of all, there is some data in a CSV file which is placed in a GCS bucket. You can observe the reference architecture, right, on the top of the slide, right? There's a CSV file placed in the GCS bucket. We are going to read the data, and we are going to perform some series of transformations. So I will explain those in detail in coming slides, and then we will write that final data for metadata into BigQuery, right? So before going to the demo, I would like to explain the commands used to run this pipeline and also the code. First of all, I will explain uh, the transformation what we are going to perform as part of this pipeline with some sample data or example data. Then I'll come back to this slide and then I will explain this this particular command, how we are going to run this pipeline. Right. So let me go to sample data. So this is the sample data, right? It looks like this. It is having almost 7 to 8 columns. We are not going to use all these columns as part of our pipeline. We are mainly focusing on 3 columns, that is symbol, and this flag buy or sell, and the quantity traded, right? So this is the first transformation we are going to perform on top of this data. So we are reading symbol and flag and the quantity separately. This is the first transformation. In the second transformation, right, so based on this flag, if it is a buy, we are going to append nothing before this quantity. If it is a sell, we are going to append minus before this quantity, right? This is the second transformation I'm going to. Then in the third transformation, right, we are going to group these values based on the symbol, right? That's what we are doing. So the first symbol has the 3 values and we are grouping. The second symbol has the 2 values, we are grouping, right? Finally we are summing up these values based on the group, right? This is the final data which we are going to insert into a Bigquery table. Okay, so I hope you understood what we are going to perform on top of this data, right? Then I'll try to explain the code and also the pipeline command, right? Let's move on to the slide again. Okay, so this is the command, the batch pipeline command. So I will try to explain each and every part of this command, right? So the first thing is that bulk deal underscore AGGR is a Python program or pipeline, I would say, where we have our pipeline code available. So it takes certain number of input arguments, the input and the output, project, region, staging, temp location, and the runner, right? Input is from where we are trying to read our input data, right? We are trying to read our input data from a GCS bucket, which is in CSV format. And the output arguments also mandatory, but as part of my pipeline, right, I just defaulted it to this path. So but as part of this pipeline, I'm trying to write our final data into Bigquery, so there is no much, you don't have to concentrate much on this particular output path, right? So it's defaulted to that path. And then the project name you have to pass, and also region. So this is also very important parameter, right? So if you don't pass any of these input arguments, it will throw in an error or exception. So region, right? So region is a very important input argument. Basically, if you don't mention this input argument, right, so Google Cloud doesn't know in which region it has to spin up your Dataflow workers, right? So that's where you have to definitely pass this input argument. So I'm asking Google Cloud to spin up my Dataflow workers in Asia South to region, right? So usually the practice is you have to select your nearest region. So we have Mumbai and Delhi, 2 regions available. So I'm selecting Delhi. Okay, you have to specify staging location in a GCS bucket, so and the temp location, right? So these 2 are very important because while running our pipeline, right, so Dataflow will create some temporary files and logs, so it will store those files into these 2 buckets, right? And the runner, so runner you have to specify it's a Dataflow runner, right? So if you are testing this pipeline locally, there you will specify it as a direct runner. Okay, let's move on to the code now. Right, so this is our pipeline code. Basically the first part of the pipeline is importing the Python module required for this pipeline. So then basically we are using some certain number of transformation available in the Apache Beam. The first one is Purdue. So Purdue is a parallel do actually. That full name is parallel do. So it works like this, right? So whenever you are you would like to process huge amount of data, right? So basically, why we are going for data flow is there are three important aspects I would like to explain. First thing is it can process huge amount of data in parallel and also distributed manner, right? So why? Because whenever you submit your workload, based on your workload, data flow can scale up number of workers based on your workload, right? It can scale from 1 to 1000 workers, right? So you can even control the number of workers through your input arguments. You can specify number of workers to be used as part of your data processing or pipeline, right? So the Purdue basically what it does, right? So whenever you use this transformation, that means it is meant for user defined transformation. Whenever you would like to write your own transformation to be to be processed parallelly, then you have to use Purdue transformation, right? Here I am using Purdue to read 3 columns from my input data, and then based on the flag I am going to append plus or minus symbol before the quantity. That's what I am doing. So then we have a run method. This is an entry method or entry function for your Apache Beam pipeline, right? Here in the first place, right, we have to specify our input arguments, right? So since we are reading our input argument through command line, so we have to default those two default input and output to some GCS bucket path, right? That's what I'm doing, right? So I'm using a Python specific module to do that. That is a argpost module, right? Then I have some simple function to format simple function written to format my intermediate data while performing series of transformation. One is sum groups. So what it does is basically read your symbol and group values, then it will sum those values based on the symbol. I do have a parse method. So this is a simple method which is being used while converting final data into Bigquery readable format, right? So Bigquery can't read any kind of data, right? You have to prepare the data readable by Bigquery. So Bigquery can read any JSON or dictionary format data, right? So that's what we are trying to use this method, which will parse that particular string formatted data into dictionary or JSON format, right? Here I have my pipeline, you can see. So in the pipeline you can see series of transformation applied one after the other, right? So in the Purdue I've already explained, and then I'm converting, once I read the data, then I'm converting that into a tuple, and then I'm doing group by, and then summing, and then again converting to string, and finally I'm converting the data into JSON or dictionary format. So in the final step, I'm writing the data into a Bigquery table. Here I have mentioned certain number of input arguments, right? So this is the table name, Bigquery table name. This is the dataset name and the project and the schema of the table. Here there are two things. If my table is already not exist in the Bigquery, I'm asking it to create. The table did already exist, then whenever I'm trying to insert the data, before inserting, truncate the previous data and then insert. So this is the pipeline. Now let us go and run our pipeline, right? So I'm running my pipeline. Right, so this is a Cloud Shell environment, I already explained. So here I am submitting my pipeline commands to run my pipeline. Let me submit that. Let me authorize. Yeah, now my pipeline started running. Now you can slowly observe one by one what is happening. Then we'll move on to the data flow console on GCP platform. Then we'll try to observe what is happening over there. Okay, now it is started. Okay, let's wait for some time. So you can see job state. Initially job state will be pending. So slowly it will check for the workers availability in that region. So if worker is available, then it clearly says starting one workers in Asia South 2. Right. Let's move on to the data flow window. Console, right? So let me refresh this page. See, there is one job in running state, right? So this is the data flow console, right? So this is a job console. Click on this job. Here you can see in-depth details of Apache Beam pipeline, which is running on a data flow, right? This is a graphical representation of your entire pipeline. So whatever the transformations we mentioned over here, we labeled each and every transformation, right? So it can be represented graphically in the data flow console, right? So you can see here, right? Now it started reading data from the GCS bucket. So slowly it will take some time, and then once everything is done, then you can see your data will be written into Bigquery. Let's go to the Bigquery window also. So this is a Bigquery. This is the data set created. So once that pipeline is completes its running, right? So then it will create a table with the transform data, right? So we'll have to wait till that complete, right? So let's see. I'm refreshing this page as well. Right now I don't see any table at all, because this job is still running. It will take some time. So basically to spin up the data flow workers, it will take 3 to 4 minutes on average. So it has to check the availability of the worker, and then there are some prerequisites, and it will check all those, then it will spin up, then it will process the data as per our pipeline, right? Let's go to the data flow console, right? Here you can see the right side of the panel, you can see the job information in detail. So my job type is batch, right? So let's see how to differentiate batch and streaming, right? Again, we'll have to go to the code. Here, while defining pipeline, right, especially in the pipeline option, there is a parameter called job type. If you don't specify anything, it will by default it will consider that job as a batch. If you specify job type equal to stream or stream true, something like that, then it will consider that job as a streaming job. So that's why it says batch job running, and SDK version, and which region it is running, right, and how many workers it's using, right? Now you can see it has now step by step it is turning into green color. So light green means still running, dark green means it's completed its step, right? You can see now it's trying to write the data into Bigquery, right? It's in a final stage now, right? And this is a hardware related information pertaining to that worker. So how many CPUs it is using, right? So what is the HDD, and what is the shuffle data, right? Here we have job name, project, region, runner, data flow runner, right, and the staging and temp location. These actually it is coming over here based on our input arguments, right? Now you can see everything is it's turned to green. That means it is completed. now I should see some table is created in my BigQuery dataset, right? I should see the data. Now you can see this table is created recently. Okay, if you go to the tables, see table size. Okay, now you preview, you can see. So this is our transformed and formatted data. You can see the symbol and the value, right, summed up value. So this is how you can run batch pipelines in Dataflow. Okay, so if you have any question, you can always come back to me. So thank you very much.